what's going on, guys? Rakan K. Listen, today we're going to talk about 22 life lessons I accumulated in 2022. Let's talk about the first one, which is neglect your body, you will suffer. You see, this past year was a very hard year for me. I went to almost 16 countries, and traveling from country to country, from town to town, a plane to a plane, the hotel to hotel, it was tough. It's hard to take care of your body. You're eating fast food, you're eating whatever you can find, and a lot of the times there is no gym, but a small gym, and I didn't have a routine, and that really messed up with me. And I saw not only that it was taking toll on my health, it was taking toll on my wealth. And I truly believe that any person that's watching this, you have to be able to focus on your health, even if it's mediocre, to be able to focus on other areas in your life. Let's talk about life lesson number 2. Don't believe your own hype. You see, 2020 and 2021 were really good years for a lot of people. COVID was hitting, people were making money, there was crypto millionaires, NFT millionaires, this millionaires, that millionaires. But what happened in 2022? We no longer hear these people. A great entrepreneurs win in good markets and in bad markets. This is why a lot of people in 2022, 2021, they thought a little bit bigger of themselves without acquiring the actual skill sets, without acquiring the actual systems, without learning. I know people that learned 2020, a little bit 2021, but they thought they got it. They thought they were kings. 2022, it was a lesson for them, and it was not a good year. So just make sure, always you're humble. Number 2, you're learning, you're progressing, you're acquiring the skill sets that you need to be at a certain. And I'll tell you guys a story. I know so many people. I'm pretty sure you guys know a lot of people that used to make a lot of money. You don't want to be that person that used to make a lot of money. So make sure, never believe your own hype. Make sure you're humble, make sure you're grounded, make sure your head is down to work, because that's the only thing that will get you out of bad times. Let's talk about life lesson number 3. You'll never be ready. You see, so many of my businesses started when I was not ready. And a lot of people ask, well, when do you start this? And when do you start this? And when do you start this? When is the perfect time? That's the point. It is never the perfect time. I'll give you guys a quick story about something that we were doing. I want to start a podcast, and came back from my tour, and I was exhausted. And I had some of the guys around me, and I said, listen, we should start a podcast. But no, bro, we should not. We don't have the equipment. We don't have the place. We don't have. I'm like, let's just start. Let's just kick it off. Let's just get something going. Like, how we're going to do it. And I literally looked at them and I said, we're going to shoot on iPhones. So everyone was like, nuh-uh, bad idea. We're not going to do it. We don't have the place. I started looking at places. And when I started looking at places, podcast studios in Toronto, they were charging almost $500 an hour for podcast shooting. And I'm like, well, I mean, I can do this. So for a day, I totally believed I can actually own a studio at one point and charge way less than $500, because I know how much the equipment is. I know how to run this thing. And the second day, doubts start coming into my head. I called a friend of mine, and I was just sharing the idea with her. She's like, are you sure? And she put some doubts into my head. But then I realized that I know with this idea, I will never be ready. So let me launch it. And here we are. We're almost done with the studios, and we ordered everything, and we started a podcast. And we're almost at 10 to 12 episodes at this point. And I'll tell you something, it's great success because we just got started. So here's my life lesson. You'll never be ready. Let's talk about life lesson number 4. Zoom made people lazy. That's the truth. Now, if you look at the stock of Zoom, look at where it was and look at where it is right now. You can see a major downtrend. And let me tell you why. You see, nothing will beat a handshake. Nothing will beat energy being exchanged. Yes, you can sit down with somebody on Zoom if they're international or so. But maybe let me give you an example. Let's just say you're going on a date. How weird would it be for you to have your first date on Zoom? What really can you do? Can you really close a deal? For the guys, can you really close a deal? But if you're meeting this girl in a restaurant and you're meeting her face to face, what are the chances that you're closing the deal? Take the same approach with your business. Yes, in COVID, it was necessary. Right now, it's no longer necessary. The people that are winning right now are shaking hands and having a healthy mix between the Zoom and meeting people in real life and connecting with people and shaking hands and closing deals in real life. It's making them not lazy to meet people and be socialized. Make sure that Zoom is not making you lazy, because I promise you, for me, it did at one point. Let's talk about life lesson number 5. Never be too afraid to voice your opinion. Bullying no longer works. We can look at Andrew Tate. We can look at a lot of people that got canceled. And transparently speaking, did they really get canceled? I don't think so. There were other platforms that were taking them in. They were actually more famous when they got canceled. And this taught us a really good lesson last year that bullying no longer works. If you're in a company, there's a lot of other competitors. So other people that would love to do things. If you're in network marketing, if you're bullying your people, they will leave to another company. And just understand that in 2022, 2023, moving on, bullying no longer works. Make sure you have the most value. Make sure you share your opinion, talk about it in a respectful manner where you can exchange things. But the bullying and the silencing no longer works. So the canceling stuff, I think we're going to go into a very new era moving on in 2023. Let's talk about life lesson number 6. Risk is good and necessary. There's two kinds of people that happened in 2020 and 2021. There's people that stayed and blamed everything, the government, the people, everything. They lost their businesses. And there's people that pivoted, took some risks, and really grew. One of my friends owned the restaurant. And there's a lot of stupid rules at that point, 2020 and 2021, about owning a restaurant and all the COVID measures and everything that happened. Like, oh, you got to have an outside patio and it's going to work, it's not going to work. And he was smart. He was willing to take a risk. And because nobody was allowed inside, he took it outside. And because he was one of the few restaurants in that area that took that risk and put up extra, because everybody was afraid that nobody was spending money because they didn't know how long that thing was going to last. So he put up the money. He opened up that patio outside and he figured a system out where with all the restrictions, he kind of moved around them. He had great success. And to this day, after, of course, all the restrictions are done, he's having great success. Although his business was not the biggest before that part, but it became very famous after because he knew how to take risk and really think in a smart way towards his business. So risk is necessary and good. Life lesson number 7. I heard this a long time ago and I'll never forget it. It talks about micro speed, macro patience. Let's talk about the macro speed. A lot of people, they're patient in the wrong things and they're trying to speed the process in the wrong things and they don't understand the system. You see, a lot of the times, people are speeding to their goals. Oh, I want to make $10,000 a month. I want to make $20,000 a month. I want to make $100,000 a month. No problem, no question asked. We're not disagreeing on that. But they're not patient towards the whole thing. Let me tell you exactly what's supposed to happen. You see, you should be micro speed in not the process, the activity. What's going to lead you to making $100,000 a year? What's going to lead you to making $1,000 a month? Whatever it is. What's the activity needed? So you're going to be micro speed in the activity, macro patient in the results, macro patient in the goals. Because you got to understand you have to be patient and you have to believe that it's going to come to you no matter what's happening. Here's number 8. We just wrapped up a podcast and I was talking about tell stories and listen to stories. You know, I truly believe at every point in my business, I needed a story to keep me going another month. I needed a story to keep me going for another week. I needed a story to keep me going for another day. I needed a story to keep me going for another meeting. You see, a lot of people don't understand that when you are listening to stories, your brain is thinking and rethinking. You're allowing yourself to think and relate and see. The more stories you hear, the more likely you'll succeed in business. Now, if you're already successful, make sure you're sharing these stories for other people that kept it around. I'll never forget, there's a podcast that was sharing stories about success in network marketing and success in this. And it was a story after a story after a story. And every time I'm listening to it, I'm getting excited. It just kept me for another day, kept me for another meeting. It kept me for another handshake. And that's what allowed me to make millions that I've made over the past couple of years. Let's talk about number 9, family. Take care of family. And I'll share with you as a vulnerable story of mine. January, I lost my grandfather. And my grandfather was very close to me because I was his first grandson. And he's probably one of the first people in my family that believed in me. This Rakan is a superstar. Nobody talked to Rakan. His first grandchild. He's blessed. He has everything. And he really gave me that belief. And it wasn't only in business. Even before business, when I was in sports, Rakan is going to win. Rakan's going to do things. He kept cheering me on. And when I was launching my business, not that I forgot, but I haven't checked on him like I should have checked on him. And I woke up one day and all I see is I've had 1,000 people message me, be like, you know, God bless his soul. And I'm looking around, God bless whose soul? And then, you know, my mom called me and she broke down the news to me. And it's a very sad moment in my life. And I did regret not spending the time. I did regret when I was close to that country. I should have visited him. I should have. But it's always like, oh, I'm busy. Next month, 2 months, next week, whatever. And take care of family. Call family. Make sure you're checking on them. These are people that are going to be around you. Just make sure they're close. Make sure you're focused. Yes, no problem. But just take a little bit of time to make sure you check up on family because sometimes you can't buy time back. Life lesson number 10. You are one handshake away from changing your life. There's a lot of times in my business where I needed something. And this something I was able to get because I had one right handshake. A lot of you guys maybe have a problem in your business. Maybe it's social media, maybe it's recruiting, maybe it's funding, maybe it's whatever it is. You understand that one person, one handshake can change the whole thing. This is why I talk a lot about masterminds and connections and joining communities. This is what gets you to the next level. Joining communities, allowing yourself to be introduced, getting out of your car. I know it makes you a little bit afraid, but communities and people that you can be introduced to can absolutely change your life. One handshake can change everything in your business. Number 11 is hire to your weakness. Now, this is a major lesson that I learned in 2022. Listen, everybody has weaknesses. And if you're smart, you are aware of your weaknesses. So 2022, I became aware of my weakness. I became aware of the things that I thrive in and the things that I don't thrive in. The things that I'm really good at and the things I'm really not good at. And I started hiring to my weakness. How can I hire somebody that would complement what I do? I'll tell you guys a story. One of the things that I'm not very detail oriented. I'm the guy with the big vision. I'm the guy with the big picture. I'm the guy with the big ideas, but I need somebody to follow through on the idea. So I literally hired an executive assistant, and her sole job is to follow through and remind me that I have to follow through things. Maybe it's the gym. I talked about health being the first. Take care of your health. Maybe it's the gym. I had to hire people. I had to have people around me that would support. I had to create systems in my life that would force me to do things even if I don't feel like it. So hire people to your weakness. Now let's talk about number 12. No matter what you do, you will have haters. I can promise you one thing: you can be doing the best thing in the world and giving to charities and you will still have haters. No matter what industry you are in, you can be a doctor, you can be whatever. You'll always have somebody voice their opinion, and that's not a bad thing. You have to allow people to talk. You have to allow them to talk. And you got to understand you have to be focused on what it is. I have a system in my life where I don't have to listen. I don't have to see. I don't need to be able to be hearing the negative stuff. But a lot of the times, because maybe I could be affected by that, I actually have my assistant watch these. And there's some valid things, I would actually take some feedback from them. So you'll always have haters. Use it to your advantage. Don't be saddened by what they say and depressed by what they say. It's okay. A lot of the times it's really good feedback for you and you can grow your business. Number 13 is there's two kinds of fools on earth. Somebody that trusts everybody and somebody that trusts nobody. I know a lot of people, they really trust anybody. They would trust anybody with everything. And somebody that trusts nobody is like, oh, don't trust nobody. You know these quotes on Instagram, don't trust nobody. you always keep it to yourself. You'll never win big. You will never. You need people around you to win big. You're naive if you think you can only trust yourself. Naive. You have to be able to trust people around you, but not be too naive to trust everybody around you. Just make sure you have a balance between trusting and not trusting people. Have some quizzes. Test people. See their loyalty. See what they're looking to. See what their true intentions. Share with you guys a quick story. I went on a date one time. It is a beautiful girl. And I wanted to test to see if this girl was really interested in me or interested in my money. And I showed up, and it was my friend's car. My car is expensive. I didn't want to show up in that car, so I showed up in my friend's car, and I wanted to see what her reaction would be. And to be transparent with you, her reaction was a negative one, not a positive one. So I knew right away, I'm like, maybe she's not interested in me as a person. Maybe she's interested in who I am or my influence or whatever it is. Make sure you're able to trust people around you, test people around you, so you know who's going to be here for you in 10 years. Number 14 is don't be too attached to money. Money is fake. It doesn't exist. The government prints money every single day. Every single day prints money. So if you're too attached to money, you'll not be able to allow it to go. If you're not allowing money to go, you'll never be able to receive a bigger amount of money. Similar example, a lot of the guys I know, they're always controlling. And I'll tell you something. If you don't have the ability to be abundant, it's going to be very hard for you to receive. Here's number 15. Launch, then figure it out. There's nothing more satisfying than launching, effing up, and then coming back again. It's the most satisfying thing when you see the end result. A lot of people just wait for the most perfect moment, wait for the perfect time, wait for this, wait for that, wait for this. And I'll tell you something, it is important for you. Anything you want to do big in your life, you have to launch and then you have to kind of figure it out. Similar like I said a story about the podcast. We started our podcast on iPhone cameras. I didn't care. I wanted to have a podcast. So we started with iPhone cameras and we kicked it off until we got the bigger cameras and we developed over time. Here's number 16. Embrace lifelong learning. I share a lot of people this story that one course in 2017 changed my life. One course. He started with Tai Lopez, 67 steps, and that opened my eyes into investments. And then another course in the investment world led me to create a business. From that, and that absolutely has flipped my life around, not only my life, my family's life, the people around me's life. So embrace life. To this day, I'm learning. You'll never be done with learning. Just understand this. University is not, okay, well, I'm done university, I'm done learning. Never happening. I can tell you something, you will forever learn things, especially if you want to grow and you want to have a successful life. You're always learning, you're always developing, you're always doing things. So embrace it and just attack it like everything you else. And I promise you, it'll pay off in a really big way. Let's talk about number 17. I'll be transparent with you guys. Lots of people are winging it. And you have to understand that it's okay. Everybody's winging it. You see, no expert on earth can tell you this is exactly what's going to happen because nobody knows. Nobody for real knows. Understand that a lot of entrepreneurs are winging it. A lot of entrepreneurs are working with their intuition. So sometimes trust your intuition. Run with your intuition. Even if it's wrong, it's okay. It's a lesson for you. You move on, you learn, you utilize your intuition. It's wrong, whatever it is, we'll learn. If it's right, you win big. So make sure you understand that. A lot of people are winging it. Make sure you wing it as well. Make sure that doesn't stop you. Use your intuition and go and grow bigger. Here's number 18. It's pretty much talking more about number 17. Action breeds success. Always. You see, a lot of people don't understand this, that when you don't know and you put action, action will breed more clarity to where you need to be able to go. It'll give you clarity in what you need to do in the next step. But a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm stuck. Well, why you're stuck? Because you're not taking action. Nobody takes action is ever stuck. Just understand this. Nobody that takes action is ever stuck. Once you take action, you become more clear. When you're clear, you'll know where to go, you'll know where to head, you'll know where to shoot, and then you go to the next level. Number 19, don't chase happiness, because you will be chasing forever. You see, you got to understand that happiness is loving the actual process. That's how you'll be happy. You see, when you understand the dynamic of life, you understand that there's never an end destination. That's how human beings are. There's always something. There's always you're shooting something. There's always something bigger they need to be able to chase. But that doesn't mean that I'm no longer happy. It means that I'm happy during the process. So make sure you're happy during the process, because you'll always be miserable if you're always running towards happiness. Now, depending when you're watching this, here's number 20 for you. Make sure end of the year, you write down clearly what you want for the next year. Not only goals, I'm talking intentions for the year. Or if you're watching this early next year, make sure you're writing the intentions for this year. What do you want out of this year? So what do you want? How would you feel? Why do you want it? And these are very important things. When you're clear on those points, you are clear on where you're heading, and make sure you're feeling it. And once you're feeling it, once you understand, you'll really start feeling and attracting the things that you want to be achieving these goals. Let's talk about 21, self-image. Self-image is one of these things that if you change about yourself, your life will change. What you say to yourself is more important than what you say to others. What you say in your subconscious mind, what you're right, how you see yourself is how the world sees you. You have to have a positive self-image about yourself. You have to be able to look at yourself on a higher regard. You have to put yourself on a pedestal, because if you do not, people will put you somewhere else, and that will not be nice. Don't be your biggest hater. Don't be your biggest hater. Be your biggest fan. People may not like this. It's fine. You don't care about these people. You want you to be happy. You want you to progress. You want you to get to your goals, to your dreams. Check your self-image. Write down what you really think about yourself. Fix that. Watch what happens to your mentality. Here's the last one, my friends. Here's number 22. There's 4 quadrants of life: health, wealth, love, and happiness. It's really important to take care of your health, as we mentioned earlier. I'm talking not only health as in go work out. Understand where you are so where you can fix it. You see, a lot of the times, you may look healthy, but you may not be healthy. Go check your blood. Go check your vitamin D. Go check these very important aspects. Understand what your body needs to be able to take in. What food is your blood type better with? What makes you sleepy? Just understand your body. Once you understand how you utilize your body, I'm telling you, your life will change. Health. Number 2 is wealth. Focus on your business. If you have a job right now, it's okay. You can never be against jobs, but I can tell you something. Always create an exit plan for yourself. Have a side business. Start a side hustle. Start trading, investing. Do whatever you gotta do to protect yourself and protect your family long term. Everybody, at one point of their life, they have to be able to invest. Make sure you're starting that when you're young, because it's going to benefit you in the longer term. Make sure you're learning the basics and the fundamentals of investing and understand how these people on the long term, 10, 20, 30 years, how you can create wealth for yourself, even having a part-time job or a full-time regular job. Love and happiness. Love, I'm talking love for family, love for friends, love for the loved ones. These are very important. You see, you can be the richest guy on earth, but no relationships, you'll be very sad. I can promise you that much. Make sure you are checking on your people. You are talking to your people. You have the relationships that would make you feel fulfilled, make you feel full. Make sure you're able to give to these people. And I can tell you something, these things will lead to the last point, which is happiness, because happiness is a byproduct of attempting and allowing these three to be complete in your life. And they'll never be complete. You'll always have missing points, but just the pursuit of it will absolutely get you happiness. And with that being said, my friends, these are 22 lessons that became big for me in 2022. Make sure 2023 is a rocking year for you and your family. Focus, because it's going to be a massive year for some people. It's going to be a bad year for some people. But I believe, if you're watching this content, I believe in you. I want you to win big. Make sure you're subscribing. You're sharing this video to somebody that wants to hear this before the end of the year or early next year. Make sure you like this. Do all the things that you got to do. Leave a comment maybe, and I'll see you guys crushing it in 2023.